Ever get the feeling that the people who seem to have it all, the super successful ones, are actually, well, kind of lonely?
Yeah, it's like a weird paradox, right? Like they've achieved all these amazing things, but
That something's missing.
exactly. We're diving into that today. There's this article really digs into why high achievers often feel so isolated,
And get this, it also explores how Stoic philosophy can actually help with that.
which at first glance you wouldn't think those two things go together, right?
Not really. But that's what makes this deep dive so interesting. We're going to break down the challenges, look at some surprising insights, and hopefully give you some practical takeaways. Especially if you're driven, but feeling that pressure, this one's for you.
Definitely. So the article kicks off with this idea it's almost like climbing a mountain. You struggle, you push yourself, and finally you reach the peak.
Victory.
Right. But then you look around and you're all alone in the thin air.
Wow, that's a powerful image. And the article really doesn't shy away from the tough stuff. It talks about the serious sacrifices high achievers often make along the way.
Oh, absolutely. Health, relationships, sometimes even just connecting with other people who aren't in that same driven mindset. It's all on the line.
All for that pursuit of success.
Yeah, and what's really impactful is that the author, Ryan Holiday, he uses his own life as an example, talks about how he was just relentlessly pushing himself, always putting work first.
Which makes sense, right? He's a super successful guy.
Exactly. But he realized he'd become isolated, disconnected,
So it's like achieving all these external goals.
but paying a hefty internal price.
Exactly. And I think it's refreshing to hear someone so accomplished actually admit to that. It makes you realize that this drive, this ambition we often praise, it can have some pretty serious downsides.
No, for sure. And Holiday, he introduces this really interesting concept. He calls it a character virus.
A character virus.
Yeah, basically, it's this idea that the very things that make you successful, like ambition, drive, that intense focus, they can actually become distorted.
So, like, the qualities themselves aren't bad.
No, not at all. But if they're not kept in check, they can turn toxic, almost like a disease.
Okay, so how does this character virus actually work, especially for people who are already high achievers?
Well, think about it. High pressure environments, everybody's striving, comparing themselves, constantly pushing for the next win. That kind of atmosphere can really breed some unhealthy behaviors.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Neglecting your well-being, burning yourself out, pushing away people who care about you, that constant self-criticism.
Oof, yeah. The comparison game.
And in that world, those things start to feel normal, like the only way to get ahead.
And then you throw social media into the mix.
Oh man, it's like gasoline on the fire, right?
Uh,
You're bombarded with these perfectly curated images, everyone's highlight reel.
Makes it almost impossible to escape the feeling that you're not doing enough.
Exactly. And if you're already prone to pushing yourself, that constant exposure can make the character virus even worse.
So how do we fight back against this? Where does Stoicism come in?
So Holiday found an answer in this ancient Stoic practice. It's called memento mori.
Which literally translates to,
Remember death.
okay, that sounds a little intense.
I know, right? But it's not about being morbid or dwelling on death itself. It's more about,
Using that awareness of your own mortality to put things in perspective.
you got it. It's a way to reevaluate what truly matters. Even Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, he was a big proponent of this.
Wait, the emperor was into Stoicism.
Big time. He'd actually contemplate the impermanence of life, even the potential loss of people he loved, as a way to appreciate the present moment.
I guess when you're running an empire, that perspective is probably pretty helpful.
Totally. And it helped him detach from that constant need for achievement, because in the end, we all face the same fate.
So it's kind of like a reset button,
Yeah.
forcing you to step back from the whirlwind of ambition and ask yourself, wait, what am I actually living for?
Exactly. And for Holiday, this practice was a game changer. It helped him shift his priorities. He started focusing more on his family, his own well-being, the things that actually brought him lasting fulfillment.
Which I think brings us to the heart of this whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
True success isn't just about external achievements. It's about living a life that feels meaningful and connected.
Totally agree. And Stoicism, it really offers this framework for finding that balance. It's about being intentional, reflecting on your values, making choices that align with those values,
And sometimes that means saying no,
which, for high achievers, can feel counterintuitive.
because saying no can feel like admitting defeat.
Right. But it can actually be the most powerful act of self-preservation. It's about protecting your energy, your time, your well-being.
So it's about recognizing that sometimes, in order to truly succeed in life, You need to step back from certain opportunities.
Exactly. Focus on what truly matters in the long run.
This has been super insightful. So to wrap things up, it seems like even though high achievement can sometimes lead to feeling isolated, there are tools out there to combat that loneliness.
Absolutely. Stoic practices like memento mori, they offer a path toward a more fulfilling life, even for those constantly striving for the next big thing.
So if you're out there pushing yourself, reaching for those goals, take a minute. Ask yourself what truly matters to you. How can you apply these Stoic insights to find more balance and meaning in your life? Something to think about.